Jonathan qui ne se laisse pas faire, mais Tom va en profiter. Et donc le dépassement avec la petite touchette à la fin du virage.
Il est parti à la faute. Attention. Les fameux nuggets de Simon. Allez, le petit donuts, c'est parti. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on Paddock TV for the last round of the Apex Online Racing, the Pro Division, the GT3 Championship. And we are tonight at Silverstone for a 90 minutes race. And till the beginning of this championship, I'm with Henrik André. Hello, Henrik.
Hello.
So the qualifying session is ongoing. And unfortunately, we missed some race. I think you have seen it. There were some races that we won't be able to broadcast for different reasons and mainly professional availability. Maybe before to start directly with the qualifying session and the race, let's go to make a short sum up of the ranking of this championship before the last round of the season. As you can see, 8th round in the season. Silverstone is the last one, and actually leading the championship it's Taha Mali with the Lexus, and is quite comfortable on the first position and should normally win the championship. In the second position, Elias with the Aston Martin is also quite comfortable with 204 points, nearly 90 points late on the first driver of the ranking. But in the third position, we can see it's quite close, with 3, maybe 4 drivers. Let's see if the Jason Upsmeyer is here tonight. But there is 3 drivers fighting for the third step of the podium. 146 for Lucky, 143 for GK and Julian Paker. It's 129. Lamborghini, Ferrari and Mercedes will fight to keep the third step of the championship. What we can see, if there is 5 different brands in the top 5 of the championship in the Pro Division, it's quite open. 35 drivers are registered in the championship. Not all the drivers take part to the race. We can see that regularly there is approximately 28 drivers, and if we check the drivers that may be retired in the championship, we can see Jason Upsmeyer, who won the 2 first races of the championship, is now in 6th and left the championship after 3 rounds. If I'm right, I don't know if it's here, Jason Upsmeyer.
I don't think Jason is here tonight, unfortunately.
So it seems for him it's Chorus that take place in the championship. It seems at the same time when Jason left, he take part into the championship. Let's see, Chorus maybe with a Ferrari, it seems. Chorus, where is he? Chorus.
Yeah, he is here.
Valentin Chorus. He is in the pit lane. the grey Ferrari. So, coming back to the ranking, very shortly after, we can see it's quite close in the middle of the field for the position 9 and 10. There is approximately 4 drivers fighting for the position. BMW, Aston Martin, Lamborghini, Vincent Lindner, Hendrix UK, Dakusa and Shooter 80 are fighting, and at the end of the ranking, we can see some driver with some participation. Smolda entering the championship in the last round, it seems, with 20 points. It's quite late to be able to make something on the season, but maybe to prepare the next one. J. Cool, 27 with the Lamborghini, scores at 5 race on 7. Xipe scores only in 2 rounds and after retire for the championship, so maybe a new driver that is coming. Matster seems retire also, so it's quite loud, but there is still many drivers in the championship here, and the qualifying is still ongoing with 6 minutes left before the checkered flag and the end of this qualifying session. Actually leading the field is the Lamborghini of Julian Bake, who is in pole position, the number 28, followed by Dakusa with the Aston Martin, and Elias in third, also with an Aston Martin. Remember that the update of the game allow the driver to choose new cars, new brand. The new Aston Martin is one of them. I think there is also an evolution for the BMW. There is a new Bentley, if I'm right. I'm not sure if there is the Lamborghini Evo. I think yes, but I'm not completely sure.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of new cars, also a brand new balance of performance. So basically all cars were a bit different. So yeah, it mixed up a bit the field. We saw new cars, more diversity in the brands as well. So that was quite cool to see.
In the fourth position, the grey Ferrari of Valentin Chorus, Lucky with the Audi. No, Lucky is now on a Lamborghini. I think Lucky was on an Audi at the beginning of the championship. He switched to the new Lamborghini. X-Cole switched to an Aston Martin. Hendrix UK, the BMW driver, is in 7th. 18th late on the pole position. It's quite close with GK still on the Ferrari. Julian Baker in 9th position with the Mercedes. Quite close to 2000s after GK, and the top 10 is closed by Tobias Dope with a Lexus.
The BMW, who are currently sitting in P8 and P12, seems to struggle a bit. As we saw in the previous broadcast, BMW is a really good car on the tracks like Spa-Francorchamps or Monza, but it's clearly struggling on tracks that are a bit more technical, and I'm afraid that despite their somehow decent pace in quality, they will struggle a lot in the race pace, especially in a 1 hour and 30 minutes race where tire wear is really important.
And Silverstone is a track where the downforce are quite important. There is long straight, yes, but in the main part of the corner, it's a high-speed corner. for the both and a lot of them. So it's quite important to have a car that should keep some speed in the different corner. Remember the Cops, Stowe, Bacots, Megget, Chapel. All these corners are very fast corner, and it's quite important to have a car that allow to keep some speed in the turn. It's still better to have a very high top speed, but if you are too slow in the corner, it won't help us to keep the position during the race. You're right, there is a 90 minutes, so 90 minutes race tonight, so let's see how it will evolve. And Shooter on the last lap keep the fourth position, 1 minute 90:59, not 1. He switched from P12 to P4.
It's a great improvement from him, and I'm quite surprised actually to see only one Lexus tonight and only 2 Mercedes. If you can remember, on the first round at the Nürburgring, we had a lot of these cars on the broadcast fighting for the top positions, and now they are quite at the back of the field, and only 2 Mercedes and one Lexus, as we said. Clearly, the balance of performance and the update did some damage to those 2 manufacturers.
Yeah, it's quite impressive that it seems during the last race we broadcast, it was the race number 3 of the championship, if I'm right. There is a lot of change. Elias is now leading the qualifying session. He's still in the first position. Aston Martin lead just in front of Lamborghini, and Valentin Corus take the 3rd position. I think there is a small gap here for the pole position between Elias and the rest of the field. There is 3 tenths. It's quite important. What I have in mind is in this championship, it's quite closer on the field between the different drivers. Here, it seems the driver are some gap are created. Maybe I don't know if it's during the championship that some drivers are more able to keep the end of the car and to learn how to use it, but I'm quite surprised.
Yeah, let's keep in mind though that Taha Mali is not here tonight. It's the same for Jason Obsmeyer. Both of his drivers, who are in the same team actually, won 6 rounds out of the 7 who were previously raced. Only Julian Paker managed to win the 5th round, and so that means that it's quite an open race for all these drivers, who will be able to fight for the win, and maybe a new winner in the championship.
Maybe it's possible. Till the beginning of the race, till the beginning of the championship, Taha Mali won the race 3, 4, 6, 7. The winner of the race 1 and 2 were Jason Upsmeyer, and the winner for the round 5 was Julian Paker. So if Elias keep the pole position and keep it till the checkered flag, maybe, yeah, you're right. It's possible to have a new winner on the championship.
Yeah, we can also discuss about the champion Taha Mali. Like I would say previously, he's not here tonight, but it was quite a surprise to see him that fast, because on the first round at the Nürburgring, he did a couple of mistakes, a couple of spins, which put him in P6 after a pole position. But if you look closely to all of his previous results, from round 2 to the last round at Catalonia, he was always on the podium.
Yeah.
2 second place, 4 wins. That's quite a domination.
Yeah. And Elias, in the same time, make 2 second position in Brenzach and in one of the Italian race. 3 fourth position, 1 retirement in the second race, and the worst performance was the round 5. It was the round 5 with the 8th position. And the qualification, it's closed. So Elias take the pole position just in front of Julian Bake. Valentin Chorus is in third, Dakusa in fourth. Third line with De Jong and Shooter 80 complete the third line. Lucky and Julian Baker will be in the fourth line. In ninth position, Joe Pay and Xcode. In position 11, GK and Wawizek with the Porsche for the position 12. Here we are. The gap, as you can see, is more than 1 second compared to the pole position, but it's quite close. There is 3 drivers at 1 second point 0, and after we have to we switch to the qualification. I haven't seen the time, the details of the time.
Yeah, because there was Elias who had a 3/10 advantage on Julian Beck, and Chorus was already 15 down. From Chorus to Bowman, there was a bit more than a second between separating the last 16 drivers. So we will probably see a quite open race, and obviously on a race that is that long, consistency is the key, especially in those GT cars where a single mistake can really put you in big troubles. So as we saw, I think the last endurance race we did broadcast was the one at Spa, and we saw that GK was the only driver who tried to double stint his tires, and it didn't work at all. So I think Silverstone is a track that is wearing a lot of tires as well. So obviously, I think the perfect strategy will be a one-stop, but you need to change the tires. You can't really carry on, but who knows? The track is quite cold. The track is green, only 16 degrees on the track.
We have seen previously on the endurance race or the long race, when the driver keeps the tire at the end of the race, the performance was very, very, very bad. Quite difficult to keep the pace till the end of the race. So yeah, probably the main part of the field will change the tire, and let's see how the race will start. All the drivers are now on the starting grid. 20 drivers tonight for the race. Vincent Lindner seems to be on the pit now. He's not here. 90 drivers.
Only 90 drivers. Yep.
Yeah, only 90 drivers tonight for the last race of this championship.
Green light, go, go, go.
We'll have one formation lap.
Yeah. One formation lap. The pace will be fixed by the leader.
Maybe a quick recapitulation of the different information you can find on the overlay. Keep in mind that if on the overlay on the top left, if you have one on next to a driver's name, it means that they still need to do a stop, because there's a mandatory pit stop in the race, and obviously the pit window isn't open, I think, during the whole race, so you need to pit at a specific time.
If I'm right, yes, there is a special time window when you can go into the pit to refuel the car and change the tire. If you go earlier or later, it's a penalty.
Yeah, your pits will just won't count. So obviously, if you crashed into the first laps and you want to repair the damage, it's kind of a big issue. You want to continue at least the race until the pit window is open to repair those, unless obviously the damage are too big.
We can see an important gap in the middle of the field between GK, Wawzek and Andreix. Jersey Wawzek, car number 911, is quite alone. There is some space behind and in front of the car.
So the drivers will start to create the two line.
David Mixon, position 15. It's just behind Shaggy Dan with the Aston Martin. Mixon on the Lamborghini. Some random tramp with the Ferrari. At the back of the field, David Mame. Position 17 with the Bentley. The Bentley quite disappear from the field. There were some of them at the beginning of the championship, but now there is not a lot of car. And the last car, Tobias Bowman with the Mercedes. It's coming back with the driver, and we start.
So it's gonna be Elias who will choose when to start. Pit lane is open now, so no pit window, and that's a good start from Elias. A very good start from Chorus, who might be able to jump Julian Beck already for second place on the first corner, but you should be careful because your tires and your brakes are cold. But Julian Beck will be able to hold on to P2, and I think it was a clean start from the Wolf fleet. Oh, De Jong and Baker are already side by side into Megas Beckett's. And GK and Escola as well are trying to fight for P10 and behind as well. And Warizek might be able to capitalize on the fight between Andrex and Dope. The BMW and the Porsche, two cars who have a great top speed. And they are still side by side, and Andrex UK might be able to steal the position on Tobias Dope. No, they are still side by side coming into the last corner, at least the last corner in Formula 1. And Andrex will be able to overtake Tobias Dope. Now we're coming to a very tricky corner in GT cars. It's not flat out. You have the sun, which is quite if you have your graphics at maximum, can be a bit of trouble to navigate. And Warizek almost collided with Tobias Dope. He was a bit surprised by the braking mark of the Lexus driver. And behind we have Random Trump and Mixon fighting.
Light effects are quite impressive on this game.
Yeah, Kunos did an absolute mega job on that.
David Mixon take the advantage on Shaggy Dan and the Ferrari of some random tramp.
Already you can see the top three creating a gap compared to the rest of the field, and just as I say, that Chorus with a huge slide into turn one, losing a bit of momentum.
Julian Bake still behind the wings of the leader Elias with the Aston Martin.
Look how the Lamborghini is agile there. He can carry so much speed into his corners, but now the Aston Martin is a bit better, especially in those long corners where the Lamborghini, which is quite a stiff chassis, is really good. You have a very reactive car. And when I was testing also on this game, I was quite surprised to feel the dirty air. So despite being in GT cars, you can still feel the dirty air, and in those long corners, and you need to be careful to not overheat your front tires, otherwise you can lose a bit of time.
Shooter goes very far outside of the track in the last corner of the Formula 1 layout.
Yeah, and he was just passed by De Jong. The BMW already struggling during the race, and we're only on lap 2. It's gonna be a long race for a BMW driver. And behind, Paker, GK, Lucky, Excol, Andrex, we are all fighting. Yeah, we have only 19 cars here today, but we already say that a couple of times, but the field is quite close. Oh, Excol almost destroying the rear end of Lucky, but we can say luckily. Lucky saw that in the viewers, and gave him some place that we were really close to a big collision there. It would have been quite a boring race for these two drivers if they had to go to the pits in order to repair their cars. But you can see Andrex just in that small straight line being able to catch so much time on X-Call in the Aston Martin. But now we're coming into the technical part, and the BMW is struggling as well. Look at that big slide from Andrex, who can still... that wasn't too bad. And maybe, let's go to P2 and P3, because I think they are battling with each other. Julian Beck made another mistake, and now we have P2, P3, P4 battling for the second place on the podium. One Lamborghini, one Ferrari, and one Aston Martin. Carlos, he's trying to intimidate Julian Beck. But it's not really working, and maybe it is because there's a small mistake there by Julian Beck. He went a bit too deep onto the brakes, and that might be the mistake that Carlos was trying to force Beck into. But the Lamborghini has a great top speed. The Ferrari is lacking a bit of that top speed.
We can see the background, it's quite close also with the Shooter, GK.
Oh yeah, Shooter, who is trying to... Paker, who just already took Shooter. So the BMW already losing position. Big slide there again, big slide on the traction. And maybe GK will be able to overtake him coming into turn 1. But the top speed of BMW will prevent that from happening. In this first lap, we have at least an action-packed race, which is great to see. Oh, GK, too much curb there. Be careful. Coming into the first straight. Don't think we will see any move there. Again, big slide from the rear of the BMW. Yeah, in all those slow corners, the BMW seems really to struggle. And obviously, those slow corners is the force of the Ferrari. It's a very stable car. You can really be confident with it.
And Elias create an advantage, create a gap on the Julian Beck for the second position. The gap is nearly from 3 seconds, 3.1 at the last trip for Elias.
Yeah, he was literally 2 seconds faster than Julian Beck on the last lap. 1.5 on Valentin Chorus. Quite a dominant start from him. And the battle for the second place on the podium continue to rage. Well, continue to rage. Maybe not, but it's still quite close. Obviously, on a 1 hour and 30-minute race, you don't want to push too much that early in the race.
Let's see at the back of the field, David Mixon with the Lamborghini number 500 is in the position 19. Tobias Bowman with the yellow Mercedes is just in front of 2.9 in front of 2.0 in front of Mixon. Smolda with the Ferrari number 12 is in the position 17, quite close to the Shagidan. But Shagidan is just behind the Bentley driven by David Mame. Here he tried to overtake by the outside just before Stowe. quite close between the two drivers. This will help Smolda to coming back to fight for the position 15. 3 cars fighting for the 15th position.
Yeah, meanwhile in front, I think Dakusa is on the limit. He's really struggling to keep the same pace as Julian Beck and Vincent Chorus. Valentin Chorus, sorry. And yeah, meanwhile, maybe he was able to catch them while they were fighting, but now that they are not anymore, I think the freeway battle is gonna narrow to a two-way battle for P2. And maybe an all-Italian, at least in terms of manufacturer, battle, Lamborghini versus Ferrari. But we have an Aston Martin sandwich with Elias in P1 and Dakusa in P4.
Hey, Aston Martin, who are leading the race at home.
Yeah, and the 3 cars into the top 5.
Yeah. Compared to the beginning of the season, there is quite a lot of Aston Martin. Remember at the beginning of the season there is quite a lot of Lamborghini and Audis. Mercedes also was quite representative. And the field is quite different now. More Ferrari, more Aston Martin. Audi completely disappeared from the field.
Yeah, the Audi suffer massively from the BOP. While it's still kind of fast, it's really difficult to control the car over stints. The chassis is really stiff. The rear of the car always want to step out. It's really not a car you wanna use, especially in those long endurance races.
It's quite interesting, maybe quite surprising to see some difference in the BOP. I don't know if the game will also update the BOP for the next season.
Oh, Chorus with a big slide! Chorus with a huge slide, and he went into a spin. That's gonna be a very tough to recover because those tires are I think absolutely dead. Huge flat spot on all his 4 tires. I don't know if he will be able to hold on. He probably lose a lot of time, but that was really close to a crash into the wall. He clipped a bit too much the curb on the inside there, and he spins.
We have seen the replay. A very small mistakes, but quite some consequence on the tires for Chorus.
Well, he's driving a Ferrari. He did a massive tribute to Sebastian Vettel, I think. That was a really bad joke, but we will carry on. But yeah, he was fighting for P2 and now he need to catch Dakusa for P3. And he need to catch again Julian Beck. It's gonna be quite hard for him, I think, but we never know. I'm quite surprised though that his tires aren't that damaged by that spin.
In the middle of the field is quite close for the position 10. There is 4 cars in 3 seconds. Here we are on board with Waurisek. Sorry for the pronunciation. It's not very easy for West European people to pronounce the name with W-R-Z-Y. I don't know how to spell it in French.
I think that's a Polish name. I'm gonna try it. Warizek. I think it wasn't too bad.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
What I know is that there's a big bunch of cars in front of him, and they're all fighting for exactly P8 from GK to Rodham Trump, P8 to P14. There's only 3 seconds covering all those cars.
We can see Jersey is quite easy with brakes on the car. It seems the car is very performant when you are using the brakes. I don't know if it's a wrong impression or not, but it seems it's very easy for him to catch the apex in each turns. It's very precise, but compared to the car just in front of him, the Lamborghini, who is quite often a little bit outside of the apex, but it seems very efficient on this way. Here again, some mistakes for the Lamborghini.
The Porsche car is very good under braking, very good balance. Quite an easy car to drive.
The backpack effect.
But he's now putting some pressure on Lucky, who is doing a couple of mistakes, and while they are losing a bit the slipstream of the guys behind in front. Oh, but look at that exit from Warisek. Can carry so much more speed at the apex, and he might try a move onto that corner. That was close. Not a lot of gap between the front of that Porsche and the rear wing of that Lamborghini. You think that's the road back to the old but gold GT1 championship, Porsche versus Lamborghini, but no, it's GT3. Yeah, Loki is really not confident under the brakes. He's losing so much time, couple of mistakes, not clipping the apex like he should. Clearly, I feel like Lucky is overdriving the car, and over a 1 hour and 30 minutes race, that's clearly not what you want to do.
Lucky is fighting for the third step of the championship, so we have to be careful to ensure that we'll score some points.
Yeah, because he's fighting against GK, who is just in front of him, so that's not an issue. And GK is going around the grass just as we speak about him. I think I jinxed him. Ah, sorry, GK. But yeah, he's fighting against GK, but he's also fighting against Julian Paker, and Julian Paker is 6th right now, so that's gonna be tough. But look at front, it's Andrex. Andrex and the Aston Martin in front are battling, and Andrex had a massive slide out of that corner, and now it's Lucky who's putting pressure on him, and GK has to defend as well on Warisek, and Warisek also have to defend on Tobias Dupi. These guys are absolutely smashing it right now. And I'm not speaking about their throttle pedal. Again, the Porsche, look at the speed he can carry through that corner, so he might try something, but he's a bit far. But still, GK need to hold the defensive line there. And between all these cars, they are all a different brand represented.
Yeah.
So maybe I know that the BOP wasn't really working on the first update of the game, but now it seems a lot better, and that's really nice to see all these different cars fighting toward the same position. Yeah, there was a small mistake in the Magas Beckett Chapel. He lost a bit of time. Maybe Tobias Dupi might be able to capitalize on it. He's trying to intimidate him, but it won't work.
the Lexus, who was the fastest car and the best car at the beginning of the season. Here the car is, as you said during the qualification, is not in the top of the grid and in the top of the pack. Except Mali, who win a lot of race with the car. The next one was Jason Obsmeyer, who win at the beginning of the season. And after, the next Lexus in the championship. Who is it? Tobias Dopey?
Yeah, Tobias Dopey, who started the championship with a P9 and a P4.
One GK made a
He's not
mistake.
doing the same, and yeah, just I would say that I think we saw the BMW of Andrex UK made a huge mistake. I was able to bet lucky Warusek and GK. And Warusek, due to all physical cohesion, managed to make a move on the Ferrari driver of GK. And now it's Lucky leading that field. But they are all fighting on the GK with a huge slag again. It's not the first time I see the rear of the Ferrari stepping out. I think he might have some damage, or he might have killed his tires. Yeah, again, car is not rotating, and Andrex UK might be able to capitalize on it. And maybe Tobias Dupia as well. Guys, they're going to side by side into Magos Beckett Chapelle. No, they all back out.
Tobias Dope was registered with the Lamborghini at the beginning of the championship, and in the data of the website, he's registered with the Lamborghini. And maybe changed the car till the championship.
Yeah, maybe to see to test for the seconds for next season. And Andrex is trying to go around the outside of GK, but with the BMW, I don't think that will work at all. Yes, he won't, and he even is now under pressure from Dopey. Under brakes around the outside. That's gonna be hard. But Andrex clipped the curb here, and he unsettled his car. Maybe on the throttle, Dopey might be able to catch him. Great exit from the Lexus driver, but we know how hard it is to pass the BMW due to his throttle speed, and even in the corner of the BMW is so much better. Look at the time Andrex gained. That's massive.
It was so close with the Ferrari here. And till this time, at the front of the field, Elias completes 11 laps with 4.3 seconds ahead of Julian Bike for the second position with the Lamborghini, and Dakusa with the second Aston Martin is 2 seconds later in third position.
Yeah. And Chorus, who we thought had the pace, seems like his spin in fact had a consequence on his tires, because he's now he's losing ground, and he was even catched by Felix de Jong, who is now putting pressure on him. Another Aston Martin trying to push Chorus into a mistake.
Nearly 30 minutes spent here at Silverstone. 33% of the race complete.
Oh, and we had a fight between Shooter and X-Call for P7, P6. And I think X-Call managed to overtake Shooter for P7, sorry. And there's also a battle continuing behind. It's GK and Andrex fighting for P11. Andrex got a great exit there, but he can't really find a way around GK, who is extremely well defending. And they are only a couple of seconds behind that group of 4 cars in front. Like, we nearly have 8 cars in the same shot after 25 minutes of racing.
It's quite amazing.
It clearly shows that quantity isn't quality. And Warisek with the Porsche is currently having a lot of pace because with Lucky, because they catch the two guys in front. We might have an overtake between Lucky and Shooter, or at least a battle. It's BMW versus Lamborghini versus Porsche. Yeah, even Shaggy Dad and Rodham Trump, who were quite far away after the third laps, are now catching those guys. And Andrex with a BMW top speed is trying something on GK again around the outside here at Stowe. That won't work exactly like the last lap, but he might try the switchback here. But GK is defending on the inside, and he won't be able to make it happen even on the brakes.
And we have lost Tobias Bowman. 18 cars now are racing, and David Mamet with the Bentley is in the pit lane.
Oh, Andrex and GK both with huge slides entering that the Formula 1 first corner. And Andrex is trying on the inside there. GK is giving just enough space. But look who is behind. Behind is Tobias Dupi, who might want to have a piece of a cake. It won't happen, and he's now under pressure from Rodham Trump. Rodham Trump with a Ferrari is trying to put pressure on the Lexus driver, but it won't work. Meanwhile in front, Warisek and Lucky are also fighting, and K, Andrex UK, Dopey, Rodham Trump, and Shaggy Dad are all fighting as well. I don't know what cameras and what cars to watch. There's too much battle on track, guys. Calm down, please. We need to keep track of all the action. And they did in fact count up, but I guess it won't stay like that for a lot of time. Because Andrex UK is again gaining on GK, and again.
Yeah, but he didn't success to pass the Ferrari here, maybe with the engine.
Yeah, but he's really close, and we know the top speed of the BMW. Will he be able to? Oh, around the outside here, that's really impressive. He managed to pull that out. Oh, they trade paint a bit. And Andrex, even on the brakes, might be able to get the best out of that Ferrari. Yes, he will, but the Ferrari comes back. And he's trying to do a switchback, but he won't be able to do that. But there's still one corner to go, one braking zone.
Quite amazing from the BMW driver by the outside in Stowe.
Oh, but he made a small mistake there. But he keep on. Oh, Tobias Dobie almost ran out into the back of GK. And will Andrex may be able to create a gap? That's the question.
Just Andrex, there is a 3.4 second to just in front of him, with 3 cars separated by a little bit more than 2 seconds. So you can fight if you want. You can fight if you want in a few laps. If you chase the car in front of him. Whoa,
oh, GK, he went onto the curb and he spins. And Shooter as well. Shooter made the same mistakes as GK and lost 2 positions. And Rodham Trump and Tobias Dupi are trying to go side by side into Maggots and Beckett's.
Let's see the replay.
What? Oh, and Mixor as well. And Mixor is in the grass. And Tobias Dopey is now going around the side of Rodham Trump at Stowe. And Shagidan is trying to do the same, but he won't succeed in that. And Smolda now, even Smolda now, is trying to overtake these guys. And De Jong has passed Chorus for P4. What is happening?
Maybe the tires of the Ferrari that are quite used.
Yeah, I think the tires of Ferrari are just down now. And Shooter Andrex, the two BMW driver, the two teammates are fighting. And Tobias Dopey, he's catching them as well as Roland Trump, Shagidan, Smolda.
It's not
It's a
finished between
BMW.
all these drivers. Maybe the strategy should have an important impact for the rest of the race. Maybe to try to create the undercut on the other cars.
I don't want to have any pit stop now. It will just destroy these on-track battles. And look how all these guys who were 2 seconds behind the two BMW at the start of the lap are now just behind them. We know the BMW is struggling in terms of race pace, but it's creating us a wonderful representation of a tree train.
And during this time, Dakusa reduced the gap with Julian Bake for the second position.
Yeah, Aston Martin seems quite nice on the tires. Because Elias as well. Oh, Andrex and Shooter. Big slide on Tobias Dopey as well. Onto the grass now. And look behind Shagidan. Trying to go around the side of Rodham Trump. And he's getting the slipstream of a car in front of him. Around outside on the brakes at Stowe. Oh, he went a bit too wide there. Oh, way too wide there.
Yeah, he
he
tried
won't
to
be
make
able
the
to-
same. Like the
But
BMW
Andrex
driver
and
should have.
Shooter are side by side. And maybe Tobias will be able to join them into the party. The same can be said for Rodham Trump and Shagidan. And they're going too wide there. Andrex UK, Shooter, Shagidan, Rodham Trump, they're too wide. That's a race start. That's a race start.
What a
Oh,
contact!
the Ferrari after the Ferrari and Dopey collided. I don't know what to say.
Amazing
quite-
race. Just amazing.
And there was 3 Ferrari into the battle, and now there's only one remaining. It's Smolda. GK made a mistake. I think also Rodham Trump went a bit too deep and tap a bit Tobias Dopey, but I think Tobias did give him enough room.
And for GK, the third place on the championship.
Oh, and
It's
yeah, I
quite
think
far.
Ferrari is really really hurting his tires because now Chorus is now under pressure from Paker, and he's really really losing time.
Let's make one on board lap with Chorus.
Yeah, look on every exit, the rig of the Ferrari is just stepping out a bit. You can see the tires mark on the ground. Oh, the battle continue behind in the midfield. Shooter and Shagidan now fighting.
They never stop. Helmet cam of Shagidan, like if you were driving the car.
Shooter, you slide again there. The rear tires are absolutely gone on the BMW. Yeah, quite a different lines from the two drivers. Shooter again, huge slide! That's not rallycross, guys. Oh, maybe that's why there's so many contacts and battles. They thought it was rallycross.
Pit window is open.
And the pit window is open now, so they, drivers can enter into the pits and do their mandatory pit stop.
I think they have 20 minutes.
Yeah. 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Oh, huge mistake by Shooter, huge mistake by Shaggy as well. And Tobias Dopey might be able to capitalize on the mistake of those two drivers, but he's not close enough to do so. Or maybe he is. Into the braking zone. Oh, that's quite bold if he's trying to go there on the outside, on inside, and it won't happen.
Dakusa is still just behind Julian Bake, and Julian Baker just behind Valentin Chorus.
Oh, and Andrex made a mistake just in front of that pack. We have a 5 cars battle again now for P10. This seems like copy paste.
There is still a great gap between the two BMW, 1.3 separate Shooter and Andrakes.
I think there's less than that.
Let's see the
There was
next,
1.3 before the last sector, but I think they're quite close now.
16th only separating the cars.
Dakusa is in the pits. Dakusa was stuck behind Julian Beck, and he's going into a pit. And Chorus as well, obviously the Ferrari who are struggling with the tires.
Yeah, it's not a surprise for Chorus.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I think we'll see GK and Rodham Trump as well into the pits, and maybe the BMW. Dopey, that's a good call as well. He was stuck behind that train of cars, and that pit entry is quite tricky. And GK, I just have to say that GK is into the wall and oversped massively, and I think that's gonna be the end of his race. Yes, it is.
Oh,
So
yeah. Very big overall speed at the speed entrance.
GK won't finish into the top 3 of the championship.
Unfortunately,
That's for sure. So now it's between Lucky, Julian Baker, and Chorus. So Lucky 146 points, Julian Baker 129, and Chorus 121. Obviously, Lucky has the upper hand now, but it's not all over yet.
I think we have to pay attention to the Porsche driver.
Yeah, he's doing a great.
Yeah, he's doing a great race. 7th in position 7 now.
If we can use a French term, it's a great remontada for now. He was starting P13, he's now P7.
And Dakusa.
Lucky as well.
Dakusa
Lucky,
come back on track in position 13. Still only 16 car in the race. Huh? We have lost Tobias Bowman, David Mame with the Bentley, and GK with the Ferrari.
Yeah, Risek and Lucky were both at the back of the field, and since the start of the race are stick together, but they are gaining position, so why not? Or Andrzej, Shooter, and Shagidan. Shooter decide to go to the pits, and will he be safe? Will he save? Yeah, a very safe pit entry. He probably lost a lot of time there, but that's better than clipping the wall. Rodham Trump as well. That was close.
Ferrari driver was quite old tonight on the pit entrance.
I think Rodham Trump was. You can't risk more that pit entry. It was spot on in terms of lines, spot on in terms of brush, in terms of wall brush, and spot on in terms of speed.
Let's see the pit entrance in the replay. Inside the car of Sam Rodham Trump. Yeah. If it's not the perfect pit in, it's not so close. So Dakusa, where is Dakusa? In the last corner? No, not in the last corner.
Dakusa is in the first stretch. He's in front of Chorus, and the race shooter is exiting just in front of Rodham Trump. And Tobias Dopey, who tried the undercut on Rodham Trump and the shooter, it won't work. In fact, he lost time. I think the lap in cold tires wasn't really
Maybe if he can do something, it's now, in this lap,
Yeah.
because his tires are quite warm compared to the Ferrari or the tire of the Ferrari, and it should be possible maybe to do something.
Oh, and there's a battle for P5 between Exco, Lucky, and Warsec. I just to say that Lucky is entering the pits. Great pit entry as well by the Lamborghini driver. But now it's between Exco and the Warsec.
9 minutes before the end of the pit lane open.
If we need to choose two cars that are seems like that are the best on the tires, it's clearly the Porsche and the Aston Martin. At least from what we see on this race, this car seems really well balanced. Maybe not the fastest in qualification, but in terms of race pace, that's quite good. The little mistake from Exco, Rarisek on the traction might be able to get rid of the Aston Martin driver on the outside here on the brakes. That's quite bold.
Lucky in the pit lane, and Andrex also in the pit lane. Dakusa will be the next driver to go in to cross the line, and he overtakes the driver.
And Exco and Rarisek did 3 corners side by side, and they gave themselves a huge, enormous amount of place. And I think they were going 50 kilometers slower than what they should, and that might be the perfect timing for Lucky to have pitted, because if those two continue to fight, despite his cold tires, he will be able to undercut them both. So that's crucial from these two drivers to capitalize on that and at least not fight.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
As we're halfway into the race. Yes, already 45 minutes have passed.
And Luke Shooter and Andrex UK, the gap is not so important between the two cars, and it's quite similar to what we have before the pit window.
And Tobias Dopey wasn't able to take advantage of his up to temperature tires, because he's still stuck behind a random tramp.
Julian Baker and Jersey with the Porsche in the pit lane. Shaggy Dan also.
And
Smolda continue.
That's good to see from Rory, because we will see if he's still behind Lucky, or despite that fight, if he's still able to overcut the Lamborghini driver.
Shaggy down in the pit lane.
Yeah, and Shaggy Dan also, there's a question, will he be able to overcut Andrex UK and Shooter, or will he rejoin the racetrack behind?
The blue Lamborghini gone back on track. Julian Baker.
Dakusa, I think, managed to undercut Julian Beck. Yes! And Julian Beck is in cold tires, so he will lose time on that outlap. Chorus as well. Well, Chorus lost a lot of time, but he's still virtually in P4. Baker, unlucky. Look at Lucky, he's now just behind Baker. And Warisek lost a lot of time doing that extra lap and fighting with Exco. And Shaggy Dan, he's gonna rejoin the race just behind the 2 BMW. So we still have that 5-car battle. Well, we still have some gaps, but compared to the previous race, those pit stops didn't strip us from the fight we have on track. So that's really good, and that's the season finale. For a season final, it's a really, really good race. And I think I was wrong because Julian Beck is already putting pressure on Dakusa. Despite his cold tires. Dakusa and Julian Beck are fighting both for the virtual second place because all the drivers in front of them, apart from Elias, didn't pit yet. And X-Call is in the pits, but De Jong and Smoldifer are continuing their stint. Yeah, look at Julian Beck, he can carry speed there on turn 1. He's putting pressure on the Aston Martin driver, taking to go too wide there, just to add stress to Dakusa, and that's a great exit there. Maybe at the end of that straight line at Stowe. It's not close enough, I guess. All right.
Quite far from
That's
the
that's
racetrack.
That's a Formula 1 2019 line. But I guess drivers know their limits. They know how many times they can go over the track limits. So it's all calculated from Julian. Oh, I don't think that side was calculated though.
Three cars don't go in the pit lane. The leader, Elias De Jong, the second one, and Smolda, virtually in third, but he will come back at the back of the middle of the field, nearly the 12th position, approximately, something like that.
So, once those three drivers exit the pit lane, there won't be any more pit stop for all of them. And Elias is already out. De Jong should rejoin the track. I think just behind Dakusa and Beck, at least in front of Chorus.
De Jong left the pit lane.
And De Jong will exit. Oh, that's a very big overcut from De Jong, who was P4 fighting with Chorus, and now he's fighting for net second place, and he's in cold tires. But Dakusa is beaten at the exit of the pit lane, and Dakusa and Julian Beck will fight with De Jong for P2. We have a 3-car battle for the second place, and Julian Beck is just in the slipstream of Dakusa, and they even touch. And Dakusa knows De Jong is in cold tires and he might be able to go, but no, it's Julian Beck around the outside. And it won't happen, but Julian Beck is still there. On the brakes. And that's second place gain for, that's third place for Julian Beck. And now he needs to overtake another Aston Martin because we had for a short moment of time, we had 3 Aston Martin on the podium. Now we only have 2. And what a thing it will be for Aston Martin to have a 1-2-3 at home around the outside here. That's really that's quite well. That's what we called big balls, if I can use that.
We can say yes, I think.
Wording. But that's a great defense from De Jong, who is now going all the way up to the inside there. He's forcing Julian Beck to go around the outside. But we know that Julian Beck is strong on the brakes. He knows how to go around the outside, but he slides a bit. He loses a bit of momentum, and it might be now Dakusa who will be able to never look at Beck. The traction he has.
So close compared to the Aston Martins.
Too wide there, too wide for turn 1. It's gonna be. I don't think that's a good idea. And yeah, Julian Smarty is backing out from it. But look at the dirt here. He's still understeering a bit, but he's still carrying more speed somehow. De Jong is really wide there. He's landing compromise into Beckett and now into Chapel.
Pit window is now closed.
Pit window is
Julian
closed,
Beck.
but all the driver make the pit stop, so it's a complete pit stop
Yeah.
strategy.
De Jong
this
back. So, what will be the outcome of that battle? For now, it's still De Jong in P2. But we have also some battle at the back of the field because between Smolda and Shaggy Dan, there's only 3 seconds separating 5 cars. But we will keep an eye on the battle for second place because it's still heating up. De Jong and Beck, Julian Beck nearly collide. And it's gonna be Takusa who might get a piece of a cake now, but De Jong is going wide. De Jong is understeering a lot, and Julian Beck is going around the outside, but Takusa is also going on to inside there.
Maybe with more steering angle, Dakusa was not able to.
De Jong
Press
is
the
not
throttle.
defending the inside there. That might be the mistake from De Jong, because Julian Beck is going for it now. And he's getting the second position, and Takusa as well. Takusa around the outside, and De Jong, I think, back out from it smartly, but no, Takusa has lost time on Julian Beck. What a battle these 3 drivers offered us. That was sensational.
Julian Bay create a gap directly between him and Dakusa. 19 separates both cars. He have quite advantage for the last 35 minutes. Now let's see how we will manage his gap. Is he able to coming back on Elias? 15 seconds ahead.
I think that's a GG for Elias, unless he's doing a mistake or he's getting caught into some lap traffic issue. But we saw that the Aston Martin has a great tire condition at the end of a stint, which isn't necessarily the case from the Lamborghini. Remember, on the first stint, Julian Beck opened a gap on Dakusa of 3 or 4 seconds, and at the end of the first stint, Dakusa was able to catch him. So De Jong is still struggling on the brakes. I think that's he's not going to be able to fight with the 2 drivers in front of him, but we might still have the battle for the second position on the podium. Meanwhile, there's still a battle happening behind. It's less exciting, it's for P13, but it's still really close between Rodham Trump and Dopey. Rodham Trump and Tobias Dopey. That was close on the switchback from Rodham Trump. And Smolda now as well is joining the party. Oh, Smolda trying to carry speed. Minimum place, but sufficient from Tobias Dopey, and it's still a Ferrari sandwich. But look at these guys, they're fighting for a P13. It's still clean, and look at the gap. I mean, Elias and Julian Beck, there's a big gap, but otherwise, all the cars from P2 to P15 are pretty close.
And maybe Corris and Piquet are quite a bit alone, but yeah, for the rest,
Yeah, but it's only 7 seconds
yeah.
after 1 hour of racing.
it's quite close. It's quite close. An amazing battle that we had seen a few minutes ago between 5 or 6 cars during several laps for the position 8, 9, 10. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, because between P2 and P15, we only have 28 seconds, I think, for
It's not a lot. It's
30
not
cars.
a lot,
It's 1 car every 2 or 3 seconds.
14.8 for Julian Beck separating Elias. Last lap complete in 1 minute 49.9 for the leader Elias and 49.2 for Julian Beck. Julian Beck, the Lamborghini driver, is faster than Elias. I think he has to find some pace again to be able to reduce the gap to 0 to create some pressure on Elias and be able to fight for the win. 16th per lap won't be enough. You have to find, I think, at least 1 second per lap if you would like to coming back.
Yeah, but Elias also have a 15 seconds gap. He doesn't need to push. He's probably just gonna save his tires during the whole second stint and control the gap. Yeah, that's. I'm still amazed. Look at. I don't know if you are on what car you're following,
I'm following
but
Dopey.
look, Smolda, Dope, Venom, Shooter, Shaggy Dan, even Andrex UK. We can have all 6 cars on the same shot on the camera, or maybe close to.
Depending on where we are on the track and which camera, maybe I think it's possible.
We only start with 19 cars on track. We have only 16 cars now on track. But that's really proving that this championship is really interesting. Not only because there's 5 different leagues, 5 different divisions, sorry, but also that because due to this division, all the drivers are in the league got more or less the same pace, the same level, and that's creating those amazing race. So I would like to really to say thanks to Apex Online Racing because they are really providing us with a great league and a great race tonight. Even though the battle seems to have calmed a bit. Maybe that's normal. Maybe the drivers are tired. And just say that, I think it's Andrex UK who made a mistake and was overtook by Shaggy Dan. I don't know if it's if a replay is available, but I do think Andrex made a mistake into the first sector.
Where is the Porsche driver?
I've
Charles
the
is
Porsche
in
driver-
8, just behind
Eight.
Lucky.
Yeah, so if we need to give maybe a duo card, it will be Lucky and Warizek. I don't think we had a time there was more than the 2 seconds between these two drivers. During the whole race, they stick together, the game plays together, and now they are both catching Paker, the Mercedes driver who was let's be honest, a bit alone during the whole race, but he's still in a decent P6, which obviously might be enough for no, it won't be enough for P2 in the for the top 3 in the championship. But at least he's fighting against Lucky for the third place of the championship, and we might have a battle on the track between these two drivers. And Julian Beck as well, but Julian Beck is quite far away. He's only in P8 in the championship with 109 points. Oh, meanwhile, there's a lot of clouds in the air. Will we see some rain? Oh, there's rain forecast in 15 minutes.
Oh, it should be interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, whippers are not operative on the car for the moment, but
Because I've tested the rain on the Corsa completely, and I can tell you, it's really hard. And if you're in slicks, even if it's just starting to rain,
we can
it's
remember.
an absolute chaos.
We can remember we have still covered a race in under the rain. I think it was the first round of the championship organized by Racing F1 Online. It was still at Silverstone, and there was a massive rain during the race. It was a nightmare for the driver.
And it wasn't even 100% of rain. I've tested 100% of rain, and your lap times, even in wet tires, are dropping by more than 25 to 30 seconds. Imagine.
No, I don't imagine.
Well, we might don't have to imagine in the next 15 minutes. We might be able to witness that in real time. And Rodham Trump has been able to catch a shooter, and in the rain, the BMW might be at his advantage. And we might assist at a huge comeback from these cars. However, the Lamborghini will probably suffer a lot due to its stiff chassis, and I guess Julian Beck will not be really happy if the rain is coming into the last minutes of the race. And look, it's still fighting behind. Tobias Dopey is trying to catch Rodham Trump. He is catching Rodham Trump. He is trying to go around the inside at Stowe. He is going into the brakes, but it might be enough there on the acceleration.
It's not done. Side by side for the next corner.
On the brakes. Great brake. Oh, that was Mulder coming from nowhere. That was a dive with a capital D. Yeah, these drivers, P15, P14, still fighting.
There is nothing to lose.
Well, there's probably a door to lose. But these drivers are doing an amazing job right now, because it's aggressive, yes, but it's still a bit of contact. It's GT cars. And I think that most of the moves we saw there were all clean. And what we said about the end of the first stint, but the Lamborghini was wearing their tires a lot more than the Aston Martin. Look at Dacusa. He's only 0.6 now behind Julian Beck. And the rain might come. Yeah, that will be the absolute British finale. British weather for a British championship. Well, a British-based championship.
And there is no wipers for the moment active on the car, so it's still
I
clear.
don't think there's rain. Yeah, there's no rain.
We have to wait 10 minutes.
It's getting darker and darker.
Yeah.
And even Elias, I think, know this, because his pace is now going a bit more faster and faster. He's trying to open a gap now on Julian Beck, because imagine if he's doing a mistake, he need a big gap to recover from it.
The more gap he has, the better is it.
Yeah, and lucky W and Warisek are still fighting for P7, but no, the Porsche also. Imagine Warisek with a great first spot of a race. With the Porsche, might be able to do a great comeback as well.
Yeah, we know a Porsche well managed on the rain should be quite efficient, and possibly for Jersey it's 2 positions to win.
Yeah, and Warisek with a great exit there. Coming into the last sector now, will he be able to go around the inside? Oh, that's a very, very aggressive move. To interlate Lucky, but it's not working. And rain is coming in 5 minutes, and in 15 minutes it's heavy rain. That's quite interesting, because that means that's not a little bit of rain that will come on the circuit, and that's also maybe the first time we'll see different conditions, dynamic conditions, at least on the course, a competition at least for my side, and that will be pretty interesting to see, because the drivers might be into the unknown. When to put the wet tires, what to change on the setup. Because remember, this is GT3 cars, you have traction control and ABS to tune. On the rain, you want to have a lot of ABS and traction control. Will these drivers have buttons? Because trust me, if you have 2 or 3 interaction control on the rain, you will finish into the barriers turn 1.
Yeah, you have to
So-
to set a maximum ABS and traction control setting.
Yeah, so if they have nothing to, if they don't have buttons to set that, that's gonna be a disaster for them. And as Warizek is continuing to put pressure on Lucky, as I think I see some light. You think it's raining?
No, not
Very
from the right.
likely.
No.
Very likely.
I think no.
There again, the Porsche driver is really good on the braking.
Yeah, he put the pressure on the car number 29. Lucky, see that the Porsche on the left and the right on all the mirrors.
And look at
of the car.
Smolda, Shagidan, Andrex, Shooter, Dope, Redemption, Smolda. 5 seconds separating 6 cars. There's 21 remaining.
I think it's
Are we-
raining now. Now
Yeah, I
there
think
is
it's
some
raining.
rain. Drivers, activate
first-
your Reapers.
And the first driver who will come into onto that train is Elias. For example, if you were Racing, you can see the Mercedes, for example, losing the rear. You can see Lucky losing the rear and adapt your speed.
Yeah, Reapers are activated for the main part of the driver.
And we know
for
that
Dakuza.
And we know that aquaplaning is a thing on a Stock Competizione. And if we slick tires, if it's the first time that you see that there's a puddle there, you're going straight into the wall. You can do nothing. You are a passenger. And I think it was the Dakuza who almost went straight due to the rain. And behind this Shooter and Dopey are going side by side for P12 into Stowe with the rain. You don't know where the grip is. You don't know what the grip level is. You don't know where to brake due to the rain. And they're still going for overtakes. And look at Shooter. That was close. I know Random Trump might be able to set a move. No, he won't. Oh, one Shooter due to the rain. He's losing the car. It's the same for Random Trump. It's the same for Smolda. 3 drivers losing the car on the same corner. I think that in the second sector it's raining a lot, and all the drivers are stopped on the track. Elias is continuing, Beck is continuing, Dakuza is continuing, De Jong and Chorus. Chorus is now catching De Jong. Nobody's pitting, but the drivers, look at the lap times, they are dropping massively. Last time for Warizek was 2 minutes point 3. This time it was a 2:01.8, and it's very light rain and it's not even raining on the whole lap. On the curb, losing the back. You need to avoid the curves now. That's a completely different lines, completely different driving style now. You need to adapt. And after such a long race with exhausted drivers, we might have some surprise in the near future. And Andrex, you can on the curb, big slide there. Random Trump is the same. Don't go on the AstroTurf, guys. That might cost you more. You guys more than a position. And Chorus is now putting pressure on De Jong. It's for P4. And they can't even go flat out there. And look how the car is moving. Even on flat out corners that were easy to take. Oh, and De Jong was forced into a mistake there, but oh yeah, he big slide there on the traction. Oh, Chorus as well on the curb there, losing a bit the grip. And De Jong is still going defensive on the middle of the track. Chorus onto the brakes, they both brake really late. Side by side into the last corner. What if both of his drivers decide to pit? Will they go side by side into the pit lane? I don't know.
Nobody going to the pit. It's quite late to go into the pit. 15 minutes. You have to ensure that there is
Yeah,
a
but
lot
look
of
at the lap
time.
time, 2:02.8. Yeah, but you never know. It's
Yeah, there is no
with this
spray.
game. With this game, if
There is
I
no
mean,
spray for the moment. I think it's
there's
too
no spray,
earlier
but
to change the tire.
you only need one corner, one paddle, aquaplaning into the wall, your day is done.
Yeah, But-
And
they take some risks. They take some risks.
meanwhile, behind is still Paker, Loki, and Warisek fighting for P6, but no difference made yet. Dopey is now catching Unrex UK. Dopey seems to be a lot better on that second stint. And now all cars have their lights on, and Shooter is sliding. I don't know how the hell he managed to control his car, but he managed to do so. But he's getting too deep there. He went straight, and look at and he's straight into the grass. This is Silverstone 28 all over again. 2008, sorry. And Dopey may be able to overtake Andrex on the brake. He's going onto the brakes, and Andrex is losing the car. On the rain, no grip. On the curb, still no grip. And De Jong and Chorus are still continuing the battle.
They brake quite late.
And Baker has no grip, he's under steering. Look at the lines. 15 minutes remaining, this is the season final. We still have a lot of cars battling on track. There's rain, they are on slick tires. I don't know who made up the scenario, but he needs a raise, honestly.
Maybe the driver have to change the tire before the end of the race. If there is a lot of rain and there is more spray, I think in 2 or 3 laps the track should be very complicated.
Yeah,
I
but
think the driver have to pass to the pit stop, but I think you can lose a lot by going to the pit lane too earlier or too late, as you said.
obviously, and maybe we'll see a driver who will stay on the track. But look, it was light rain until now. Now it's gonna be heavy rain in 5 minutes time, so it will be completely different. And keep in mind that the track 10 minutes ago was on an optimum form. It's now in a green state. Green means that there's no rubber on the track, so there's rain, there's no rubber. That's gonna be hard for the driver to adapt. And look, Baker's in the car. He's going straight onto the curb. No grip. Absolutely no grip at all.
There is
And
a
he's
lot
still
of
going straight
understeer.
there. And even Warizek is struggling now in the Porsche. Oh, almost losing the rear of the car there. They were in 2:04.5 last time by. I think that lap. Oh, and there's some rain. You can clearly see the rain now on the racetrack in the third sector. Still no spray, but I would say it won't take a lot of time because yes, it's raining heavily now. And look, since the rain has started, Shooter and Andrex lost a lot of place. There are now P14 and P15. And Dakuza and Beck are also fighting now side by side into Magos Beckett's. Dakuza managed to back on a little bit, but is still struggling with the power. Both cars sliding. But they are fighting for the second place. And there's no spray now from the rear tires of Julian Beck. Be careful with aquaplaning, guys. And Dakuza is still braking. Very late, very late. It's for now, it's okay, but it won't be okay for long. Beck is defending. Dakuza is trying to attack around the outside. It won't happen, but with the switchback here. I really don't want to be on the drivers now because they are fighting.
Andrex UK going to the pit to change the tire.
They are fighting. They are trying to break the latest possible to maximize the grip level, but they don't know the grip level exactly.
David
These are
Mixon going to the pit lane also.
Yeah, the two last drivers. That's a remarkable performance from both of his drivers. But look at Elias is really slow now.
2.4.
I'm pretty sure he will go into the pits. Look, he can't even accelerate. No, he decided to stay on the track. And Julian Beck managed to open a big gap from Dakusa.
With 19.7 ahead of the second position. You have maybe...
Sorry to catch you, but Lucky and Warwisek are now fighting as well. They're restarting their battle on the Warwisek with a very good exit now. Will Lucky defend? Lucky won't defend the inside. Warwisek will go into the inside. Lucky brake really late, and Baker is going straight into the pedal. Same for Lucky. And De Jong is in the pits. De Jong is the first of the top drivers to pit. Baker stay out, Warwisek stay out, Lucky stay out as well. But look, Baker lap time is 2:08.7. I think that's gonna be a good time to pit now, or you need to think about it at least. X-Cole is staying out. What Shaggy staying out as well. What will Dopey choose? Dopey is staying out. Random Tramp is going in. The Ferrari driver is going in, and Smolda, the overall Ferrari driver, is going in as well, almost crashing into the wall. Be careful, guys. Shooter is staying out.
Honda is UK with the wet tire.
Yeah, Andrex UK with wet tires is now one lap behind P2 and P3 who are on dry tires. So if he's catching them easily, he might give some ideas to those two guys. And look at how easy he's coming back. I think that De Jong, who decided to pit early,
may keep the advantage.
I think he can even overtake Dakusa and bring him back. Because you can easily gain 3 or 4 seconds like that, and remember that he's faster than Andrex UK. Chorus is absolutely stopped on the racetrack. Same for Baker.
But for Andrex it's maybe faster,
And
but
Elias-
he's still stuck
Elias is
behind
staying
the
out.
Aston Martin.
Rodham Triple Smolda, I think they messed up their pit stop because, yes, if they still have the fuel in the car, they lost a lot of time. And Chorus will stay out. Chorus is staying out, but yeah, he's in a lot of time. And Mixon, who is in wet tires, will try to pass him, but he went onto the curb on the wet and he won't be able to do so.
It's the same for Andrex. It's quite difficult to overtake under the water, even with the wet tire.
Yeah, because you need to go outside the trajectory. And if you stay on the racing line, I think slick tires are not a big issue at the moment. That's some very good slick tires at least. I mean, Formula 1 will already have red flag the race with that rain. So that's quite impressive to see GT3 with slick tires still on the racetrack. But Mixon just on the traction.
Well,
so
for
much
Andrex
better.
it's...
Oh, Baker and Warwisek as well! They made the same mistake. Both drivers made the exact same mistake, and it was a beautiful race from the Porsche driver, but he decided to attack a bit too much, and now he's under pressure from X-Cole. I think that's really time to switch on the slick. I think De Jong for now is really in a good position. Because last lap from De Jong we will see. was a 302.7, but he did pit it. Elias is not pitting.
No.
Julian Beck and Dakusa are still fighting, but will they pit? Because who will decide to pit first? Who will decide to take the risk? Nobody.
Nobody. I think it's too late now. Nobody will try to go in the pit lane.
Except if dry tires are... Oh, because Koros almost lost the car now. Look on the last lap of Dakusa, 2:11.9, and Julian Beck with a small mistake. Dakusa going around the outside in maggots. That's not gonna happen. They are side by side. They have no grip.
Yeah, but
whatsoever.
Andre's still behind. Look, Andre's with
Yeah,
the
but I
wet
think-
tire, he can't manage to pass.
But I think he don't want to risk to impede those two drivers into the battle. But I think he will try to pass now. No, Dakusa didn't really give him space. He will lift off a bit. And Peck exactly the same mistake as Paker and
Whoa!
Warizek. Exactly the same mistake. This corner seems really tricky. There's some puddles on that part of the racetrack. Oh, you don't want to spin. You don't want to lose everything now. And X-Call now has catch up to Warizek. De Jong is still on the racetrack. De Jong 207. De Jong 207. That's literally 7 seconds faster than Julian Beck and Dakusa.
It's 8 seconds kept on Shooter just in front of him, but he have 3 laps left only, so...
Yeah, but the rain will continue to get heavier and heavier, and Dakusa now is going to do the switch back on Julian Beck. But Julian Beck is having a great defense. I think the slick tires are very, very good. Maybe too good.
And
But Julian Beck
Andre's
now is
make a
now-
mistakes. It's not...
Oh, Dakusa! Oh, he brakes really well! Yeah, he braked really too late. Oh, but he was really close
he
to the
was-
grass.
Yeah. He put the
It was
tire on the
almost
white line.
a big grip, but it was just a warning for Dakusa.
And Felix passed Shooter. The next driver is Dopey.
Yeah, 214 now. 214 for Beck and Dakusa. I think Felix will have love to have 20 minutes more of racing.
Yeah, but with 20 minutes more, I think more driver will
Why Shooter?
go through the pit lane.
Why is Shooter? Shooter is 11th and I don't see him anymore. Oh yeah, Shooter made a mistake.
Nine seconds.
Oh,
on-
Beck and Dakusa collided! Or they both did the same mistake and they both spun! What a drama! Julian Beck and Dakusa, I think we need a replay on that.
Yeah, we have it. Some understeer from the Lamborghini. Whoa! Well, 15-0. And... Right.
Oh yeah, Beck went onto the grass. Then,
And he lose the
Dakusa.
car, yeah. He
Yeah,
hits
and then-
the Aston Martin.
yeah, and then huge slide. Oh, due to the water. That's really unlucky.
On the reed grass, it's quite... it's quite fun. There is no
But
control
yeah, that
at
shows
all.
that shows how there's no grip. And Warisek, who was catching again Lucky and Baker, made another mistake. But X-Cole and Warisek are catching Lucky and Baker, who are both fighting. They are 217. They are 17 seconds slower. And Felix De Jong is still doing 208.
Yeah.
He's now 10 seconds faster. Ah, he might be able to score a top 10. He might just be able. Oh no, Beck is Beck is 5 seconds behind Dakusa, so that's gonna be really hard to catch. And Beck is in the grass. And Elias has passed the finish line, so we'll have 2 more laps. 2 more laps of chaos. I think that's the word.
It's not so far.
And Baker made a mistake and was overtaken by Lucky and Warisek and X-Cole, and he's in the grass now. He has no grip. And maybe let's go in onboard with De Jong, who is catching Dopey, he's catching Shagidan, he's catching Baker. How far can he catch up? He was P5 before his pit stop. P4 in fact. I think he will lose the P4, but
He
yeah,
can
look at the grip he has.
come back
He
in
can-
the top 10, but I think it should be difficult to keep
I think
the
he can
two.
score top 8.
Top
I
eight?
think he can really score top 8.
Right.
Look at Dopey in front. He's lost. No grip.
228
Look.
for Baker, 216.
Look at De Jong. The difference in grip is insane.
Yeah, but you have to find a way to pass. Here in Backward Mega Chapel, it's side by side, it can't pass. You have
He
to
can
wait.
go around the outside. He can go around the outside here. He has the grip to go, but he's not confident enough. Yeah. The grip level is
speed!
so, and he's gonna be fair play. I think he's gonna wait for Dopey.
I think there is a contact with Tobias Dopey and he waits.
Yeah, that's really fair. That's really fair from him. Fair play to that, but
And behind
That's
we
me.
can see the BMW that cuts the chicane.
I think De Jong now he could have get X-Cole on Baker, but for now it's gonna be and Baker. Just as say that Baker is doing another mistake and Shaggy down.
Man, leader is on the lap.
He's catching him.
Last lap for the leader. Where is Elias?
And Warisek and Lucky are fighting for P5. We have no grip. Look at Lucky.
Oh, look
He's
here.
understeering at 50 kilometers per hour. That's insane. We have no grip, and Warisek is gonna accelerate on the curb, which won't help him. But and also due to the spray, they see nothing, and Lucky is now on the curb. And there's one lap to go, and X-Cole is just behind as well. And they're gonna brake really late. Is the final lap of the race. I think it's gonna be an easy win, if we can say that, from Elias.
Time is up.
Behind.
Time is up.
What will happen? Lucky and Warisek are losing the car. They're sliding. This is very close. 220. And I think De Jong might even get Shaggy Dan and Baker in the last lap. That's gonna be close. That's gonna be really, really close. And yeah, Lucky is still in front of Warisek, but look, they're stuck. And look, he's going into the grass. Warisek as well.
Hey, clearly it's a nightmare for the driver. It's cold just behind.
And X-Cole as well. And hopefully we don't have 15 minutes more of racing, because in 15 minutes it was literally thunderstorm. Oh yeah, both drivers now are really cautious. Maybe we can go on Elias, who is now
It's-
entering the last corner.
It's
I'm gonna stay
220
on
for the drivers. Huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on Lucky, Warisek and X-Cole. Because
Elias
Elias,
in the last corner.
yeah, he's gonna win the race. It's gonna be his first win,
In the last round of the championship.
which will secure him the second place of the championship.
Well
But
done,
what will
Elias.
happen between... And Beck is catching Dakusa. There's only 1.6 seconds, there's only one sector left. I don't think he will be able to catch him. But Lucky and Warisek, they're still going at it. It's the last sector, and Lucky went a bit too wide, but he somehow managed to find gap on the outside of the track. He's taking rain lines. But yeah, it's working for Lucky, but will it work enough? Warisek is taking all the risk, even going on to the curves there.
It's a second position for Dakusa.
And
the
De Jong,
third for-
De Jong has overtaken the Baker. He has overtaken the Shaggy Dan. And Warisek has he's gone straight. into the gravel. And Escol as well. What is happening? It's gonna be the last corner. Will Escol be able to overtake Warisek? You never know because this last corner is tricky.
Hey,
Warisek gonna finish P6.
You're right with De Jong with P8. You're
Escol
right.
P7. De Jong. I don't know what was the last time of De Jong, but it must have been insane from P10 to P8 in the final lap. De Jong last lap
2
now
minutes
2:11.
and 2 and
And
11.
Shakitan was
Make-
2:22.9.
take a look
Lost
on the
11 seconds.
Take a look on the last lap of some random Trump. 2.9. 2.9 for the Ferrari driver.
And Dopey will finish P11. Shooter P12. Oh, but they don't have speed. And Shooter on the side. Shooter overtook Dopey on the start finish line for 3,000ths of a second.
And he
It was
crashed the
outside
car
the track
after.
limits, but that was worth the risk. Amazing performance for Shooter, who risked everything. I think this deserves a replay because that was really very, very close. Oh yes, because if you can see on the last sector, Shooter Shooter went wide. Shooter went wide on the second last corner. Dopey as well. Oh yeah, Shooter went wide, and Dopey lost the car.
Everybody's
Dopey lost
in
the car as
grass.
well on the last corner. That was
Amazing race. Amazing race. And Elias win the first race, his first race of the season and the last race of the season. Let's coming back in few seconds. We will try to keep the podium drivers in interview. We are coming back soon. Stay tuned. We are back with not all the drivers on the podium, but only some of them. One, Dakusa. Hello, Dakusa.
Hello.
So, quite an amazing race. 2 Aston Martin on the top of the podium for the last round at home for the British manufacturer. And what a race with a typical British weather. What was it for you?
Yeah, it was just insane. We had such a tight battle with Beck, and the weather was just. It was so difficult to keep the car under control.
Yeah, we have seen at the end of the race that it was clearly tricky. Which tire or slick tire? Some driver tried to change the tire, coming back was possible, but it was very, very difficult. Maybe just a short sum up of the beginning of the race with the clear tire. Till the beginning of the race, you were quite close to the Lamborghini driver. It was Julian Baker. We have seen that the gap was in the first part of the race increasing, and after you are able to reduce it before to go in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think my tires didn't start to work immediately after changing. So I was a bit slower in the beginning, but then I started to catch up. But like the Aston has such a low top speed, there was no way to get past anyone. I felt like I was clearly faster, but there was no overtaking chance.
Okay, and in the second part of the race, compared to what we have seen in the previews of the championship, so we missed a lot of race, but we have seen that there is some position change with a different strategy. Here today it was not clearly the case, but at the end, this weather and this lot of rain, it was quite tricky. At the beginning, have you seen that the rain will come at the end of the race?
No, that I only saw that like a few minutes before it started, so there was no time to react. It was just hope for the best that the tires will hold.
And did you think one moment to change the tire, or you try to push it as you can and keep the slick tire?
Yeah, I was so close to changing tires, but since Beck was so close ahead, I couldn't risk it because he would just fly away, and I didn't know how bad the rain would be, so I just had to risk it and keep behind him.
Take the risk, yeah. We have seen 5 minutes before the checkered flag a contact between you and the Lamborghini. It was not a volunteer contact, but Julian tried to keep all what he can do, but at the end there is a small contact as with a lot of water on the track. Both cars go in speed.
He just hit a puddle on the inside.
Yeah.
He judged afterwards, but that's racing. Those things happen. It was really bound to happen. We were so close for so many laps, and that it was so hard to keep the car under control. But no hard feelings. We're just so happy with the race. It was so fun.
Yeah, clearly. On our side, it was clearly fun also. Maybe a conclusion on this championship, season 2 for the GT3 championship. What do you think? What was your feedback for the season?
Yeah, I enjoyed the season very much. It was like I didn't have so much practice with Assetto Corsa before this, so I was quite slow in the beginning. But after the car change, it just all came together, and I was feeling very good with the Aston. But once again, I would just have to congratulate Mali for the championships. He was just one step above everyone else this season.
Yeah, Mali clearly wins 4 of the 8 race. Maybe a short sum up of your championship. 18 for the first round, 17, 11 for the third, and after it seems it's when you switch off the car between round 3rd and 4.
Yeah, first rounds were a bit unlucky for me. I had some contacts and some unlucky spins and something getting used to the car mostly because the Lexus didn't really fit me in any stage. It was fast, but it was a bit too tricky.
And with which car did you start the championship?
With the Lexus.
The Lexus. And you prefer the Aston Martin, clearly.
Yeah, it's more fun to drive, but it's so slow on the straight. So, for example, Monza, it was just the last one.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
once again, it was so much fun fighting with the car, fighting with the guys in AOR. It's such a great group of people. And also, thank you guys for the commentating. Great job.
Thank you for the show. Unfortunately, we have missed some race. Sorry for that, but we do our best to ensure all the broadcast. In the last months, it was quite difficult for us to ensure all the broadcasts where there is some professional constraint and some unfortunate fact that we can't remove or cancel. So it's unfortunately why we're not able to broadcast some race during the championship. But maybe the last word for this interview. You start by 3 positions outside the top 10. After 4 rounds in the top 10, 7, 9, 9 and 5, you finish the season for a second position. I think it's maybe quite so close for a perfect season for you, no?
Yeah, pretty much. At least a perfect season ending. So many fun races, and my pace was increasing all the time.
Yeah.
So very happy with this.
Yeah. Thank you for your time for the interview, and thank you for the show during all the season. And this last round was very exciting. And thank you again to you and all the drivers and the organization to allow us to make this comment. Thank you, Dakusa.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Have
Bye.
a good one. Bye.
So, it's the end of this season 2 for the Apex Online Racing GT3 Championship. We were with the Pro Division here for this first test for us with the Apex Online Racing Championship. The different race were quite interesting. Maybe one good thing that we can highlight today. It's the first race on Assetto Corsa when there is no crash from the different tools for the overlay, etc. So maybe we can finish also on our side with a good news, with no technical issue during the broadcast. During all the previous one, it was quite tricky, and clearly with some scenario like today, we can predict that if there is a new season, it would be quite amazing with this sort of show and the quality of the driver. It was so close during all the season, and we hope for a potential next season it will be the same. We don't know what will be our future on our side, if we will continue to work with Apex Online Racing or not, to be honest. We don't know what we can do for 2020 on our side. So what we can only say today, it was a real pleasure for us and for Henrik, which have to leave quite earlier tonight, just after the checkered flag. It was a real pleasure to make the comment, even if we missed some race. But we hope for the championship the best, and for the driver the best for the next season. And again, thank you everybody for watching us and for the show. Thank you for all, and thanks again to the organizers to trust in us to allow us this live. And for the next broadcast on our side, it will be the last broadcast of the season. It will be on Thursday. It's a GT3 Championship also in French with a French commentary, and it's on Airflag Talk 2. You can see it at 9 p.m. if you want on this Thursday. It's the final race of the season, also to define the championship. It's the final race to define the champion is this championship also. Thank you again, and don't forget to make a comment, and to like and share the content if you like it. and I hope we can see you soon. Bye, and thank you everybody. Bye bye.